Hey, this is a video for Reproduction.1. So go ahead and set up a new Cornell Notes and remember to start a new page for this video. Also, you can check out the essential vocabulary. Today we will be going over a lot of vocabulary words and you will see a couple of diagrams, but don't worry, you'll be provided those diagrams, a printout of those diagrams to label on your own. So before we begin, just want to review, this is the male reproductive system and this is the female reproductive system. We'll go over both in detail. But to start, I would like to discuss the hormones. Remember that a hormone is something that provides communication within the body, and a hormone has a particular shape because it is a protein and it latches onto a receptor. In the males, we have testosterone. In the females, we have multiple hormones, but we have estrogen and progesterone. Now, you don't have to know both of them. If you may be asked to recite a reproductive hormone, and if that's the case, just choose one of the female reproductive hormones that you want to memorize. And a hormone is controlling the reproductive process. It will produce gametes in both the males and the females. Remember, gametes are sperm or egg. And it will also influence the secondary sexual characteristics. That can be from the development of pubic hair to breast development in females. In males, it will have the lowering of the voice. Basically, stuff that happens during puberty. And also, it's going to kind of control a lot of those things that happen during the actual reproductive process. Okay, so during sex. Now, the testes is part of the male reproductive system. The testes is the structure where sperm are produced. In fact, to be specific, it is the site of meiosis in males. So once the sperm are produced, then they will travel through the vas deferens, which is the structure that delivers the sperm from the testes and will help deliver that sperm out of the body. Any sort of blockage can prevent fertilization. We'll discuss that in a few minutes. Now the sperm will enter the urethra, and the sperm will also be joined with some liquids that is produced from the seminal vesicle and the prostate gland. You don't have to know them for the regents, but they will pass out through the urethra. And the urethra is a structure that is transporting substances out of the body. Now in the males, the substances are sperm and urine, because the urethra in males is connected to the bladder as well as the vas deferens. And in the females, it will transport urine only. So the bladder is actually not part of the male or the female reproductive system, but the urethra is part of the male reproductive system only. Now the sperm are leaving the male's body. Now before we show where they enter in the female, let's talk about the production of the eggs. The ovary is the structure where eggs are produced. In fact, to be specific, it is the site of meiosis in females. And the process of ovulation is when one egg is being released from the ovary each month. And all females are born with all of the ovaries that they will all of the eggs that they will ever need, and by the time that the female is born. Now, after puberty, the female will release one egg per month. Sometimes you get 2 eggs, sometimes you don't get an egg. But it will release 1 egg from each ovary or from the ovary each month. Now that egg will transport to the fallopian tube, also known as the oviduct. OV, that prefix just means egg. So it will move into the fallopian tube, and that's a structure that's the location of internal fertilization in females. Remember, fertilization is the joining of the sperm and the egg, and internal just means inside. So now, we have the egg that has been released into the oviduct. We have the sperm that is entering, and it will enter the female's body through the vagina. The vagina is a structure that receives sperm from the male. And then it will pass through the cervix, which is basically a divider. It is a structure that separates the vagina from the uterus. Now, fertilization occurs in the fallopian tube, in the oviduct, and it is simply the merging of a sperm and an egg. Now, fertilization, you can tell it looks like this because you're going to see a sperm and an egg separated. But when you have them merging together, recall that is a zygote. And a zygote is simply a fertilized egg, and it will literally look the same as an egg, there's just no sperm next to it. Now, once that zygote forms, it will move into the uterus, and the uterus is a muscular structure where the embryo attaches for development. This space inside the uterus is also called the womb, and I'm sure you've heard that term before. Now, sometimes you might not have an embryo that attaches itself. And over that entire month, the uterus is lining up with blood and other nutrients in order to protect and to feed that embryo in the event that pregnancy does occur. But once a month, if there is no embryo attached, then the uterine lining will be removed. And menstruation is the monthly removal of the lining of the uterus if there is no embryo attached. Now, to prevent fertilization, basically you need to block the sperm meeting the egg. There's a few different ways we can do it. The first one is a vasectomy, and a vasectomy just means you're cutting the vas deferens. If you have a vasectomy, you cannot have the sperm passing outside of the male's body, which means the sperm will not be able to enter the female. Another method would be a condom, and a condom basically covers the penis, and it is designed to catch the sperm before they or as they leave the body, so it cannot enter the female's body. Another one is to have a woman's tubes tied, and the tubes tied just means that the eggs will still be released, but they can put a little clamp here, they can cut it, they can tie it off, and it will not allow the sperm or the eggs to meet. There are also other devices like birth control pills, which will alter the hormones. And you can also have an intrauterine device, and the intrauterine device basically goes inside the uterus. It's a little bit more complicated, and you can research it on your own. It's also called an IUD. You probably learned about it in health class. So just to refresh, there are some processes. For starters, meiosis occurs in the testes and the ovaries. Fertilization occurs in the oviduct, also known as the fallopian tube. And mitosis is the same thing as growth, and mitosis will occur in the womb while it is attached to the uterus. I gave you a bunch of information. I hope I did not move too fast. If you need to go back and review, you can rewind the video. Please take a moment to respond to this check for understanding. I thank you very much for your attention. I hope that this video was informative. I will see you soon.